Welcome to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations, where real people have unfiltered conversations about the topics that influence the way we think, feel, and move.
So welcome to DefineURadio's After Dark Conversations. I am your host. I'm your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace. After Dark, if you have been listening to After Dark, you know we have unfiltered conversations about pretty much everything that's going on. If you like the show, go ahead and subscribe, share with your friends, family, and foes. And I'm really excited about today's show because I have a guest of mine. If you have listened to Classes in Session, you have heard his voice because I don't have too many men on the show. So welcome my friend to the conversation, Mr. Jay Wells.
Yeah. Hey.
You sound crazy. So today, we're going to talk about a very, very interesting topic. I'm sure it's on a lot of people's minds since the death of Mr. Wakanda himself, Chadwick Boseman. And a lot of you guys, most of us know that, that is Black Panther. And so with his untimely death, of course, the conversation is, will there be another Black Panther? Should there be? And everything else. So that's why I brought my friend Jay on to discuss it. And you might wonder, why, Valencia, you could have this discussion with anybody else. That's not the case. Jay has a very special connection to Black Panther. If you want to go ahead and share that, Mr. Wells.
You're doing a good job. Go ahead. I'm listening.
You're so crazy. Go ahead and tell your Black Panther connection.
So, yes, I have a connection with Black Panther. I had the honor and the distinction to be able to work on the movie as a stunt performer. I was in the mighty J-Body tribe. Panther!
But and in addition, you are, and you have to use that title, you are an award-winning stuntman. Is that the correct terminology?
Yes. Yeah. The stunt team for Black Panther, which I was included on, we won Best Stunt Ensemble for a Motion Picture. Because if you remember the movie, there was a lot of fight scenes, there was a lot of stuff going on. And it took a lot of men and women that were capable stunt performers to pull that off. And so I was grateful to be a part of that. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yay. I think I would be a good stunt person until I hurt myself. Then that would be done.
Injuries happen. So it's something, it kind of comes with the territory. Nobody wants to get injured, but injuries happen sometimes. So you gotta stay in shape and figure out ways to mitigate that, and so you can get back in the game and be safe.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll live through you. So, this conversation has been an ongoing one. We've spoke about it a couple of times because it's very interesting about, Black Panther was like, I don't go to the movies often, but I went to the movies to see Black Panther.
Yes.
Never learned the dance everybody was doing with it because I'm just not coordinated like that. But it was such a moment. So when you think about Black Panther, the movie, what do you think? Why do you think it has such a big effect, I guess, on Black people?
The timing of it was overwhelmingly Black. and we had a black superhero that wasn't offbeat, had a swagger about him. Just the character was just cool from top to bottom. And he wasn't a side character. He wasn't hokey. He wasn't stereotypical. It's everything that you would want a hero to be. Tall, good looking, rich, can fight, prominent, just that leading man. And that's what Black Panther was. And something I say about the movie and for that time frame, that when Black Panther hit, it was the cinematic equivalent of Barack Obama being elected president in 2008. It was just something entertainment wise that, we could all come together and rally around, and we just all appreciate seeing somebody that looks like us represented prominently. And it was something that for the first time in a long time, Black boys and girls could see themselves represented in a way that they hadn't previously seen themselves represented before on the screen. And it really it paved the way for a new genre of film called Afro sci-fi, Afro pop, this whole Afro scientific action kind of thing that that you really seen in Black Panther with the technology that you've seen and how it was used, and it was all black for the most part. And so it ushered in that, and then just to see, other kids that weren't black putting on Black Panther costumes because the character was just so cool. A lot of times, when we grew up, you had Superman, Batman, Hulk, Captain America, all these different characters, but nobody that really looked like us. And so we just had to make do with who it was. Even I'm a nerd out for a little bit, even with anime. So anybody,
Oh my word!
any character that's not white, if he an alien, we gonna adopt him into the black community because that's somebody of color. he gonna be black just because he ain't white, he green. So we gonna make him black. That's close enough.
I wanted to be Hulk.
You
And
want to
I never thought about it until you just said that, with the whole color thing. But I wanted to be Hulk because, Hulk, not as Bruce Banner. I didn't want to be Bruce Banner. I wanted to be Hulk.
Valencia Smash.
I'm telling, I could see it now. That's why, like, even with the Hulk thing, they just, kind of jacked over his movies, even though I watched them. But but Hulk will live forever. So with the whole Black Panther thing, and it was amazing even being part of that in the theater and the whole thing around it. And then, we just waiting and Marvel is, oh my God, their forecast with when movies are coming out. Sometimes they're planning 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line. So I've been waiting and waiting because I'm like, what they gonna do in Black Panther 2? And I knew they hadn't started making it yet. But then, Chadwick Boseman, and I'm saying his name correctly, right? I don't want to mess it up.
Chadwick Boseman. Yeah.
Okay. When he passed, a lot of people know him for Black Panther. Of course, he was in other things, but when he passed, it was kind of like, damn, Wakanda's done. What were your thoughts when you heard that he passed?
I couldn't believe it. I had a couple people hit me up at once. My sister texted me and I didn't see it. I was working out at the time. And then my cousin called me and we were just, yo, what's up? I'm shooting the breeze. And then as I was having this conversation, he was calling to tell me about it. And I had seen her text. I was just stunned. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And it was like, the first thing, you do now when you get information, you cross reference it. So
Right.
yeah, so for me, initially that weekend, I was, and granted, I didn't know him personally.
Right.
I had a slim chance to double him in the suit at the time, but I it hurt me, and I couldn't understand why I was so hurt because I didn't know him personally.
Mm-hmm.
But we, as artists, we shared similar interests. In a certain way, I've been following his career. We've been going down the same path, and he's kind of paved that way for me and so many others to come, behind him. And I was hurt, and I wept, and I had to talk to a lot of people to understand what it was I was feeling and why I was so hurt about somebody I didn't personally know. And but for this movie, it tied us together for Black Panther, right? And I had people help put me in this position to be in this movie, but his performance was so great that it pulled a lot of people's attention to the movie with just the attention
Mm-hmm.
that it garnered, and we all benefited from it. I benefited from it. And I was looking because I wanted to be Black Panther before Chadwick Boseman, before he was a household name, way back when Wesley Snipes' name was attached to it.
I don't think I would have watched it.
I think we would have,
No.
unless you don't
We're
like
gonna
Wesley
go.
Snipes.
We're gonna go back to that.
Oh, okay, okay. That's gonna be the after dark conversation.
Oh no, After Dark is only, it's not for the weak.
I
So
see.
now what you say is up to you. But what I
Mm-hmm.
say, just being 100, that's why it's no longer classes in session. Um, this is for the people that have they late night wine, coffee, B12, whatever it is, and just want to hear a good conversation.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I think with Chadwick Boseman, he was larger than life. Uh, Even just from that one role that most people know. I saw him as well in Marshall. Um, and I'm trying to think what else I saw, but you think about Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
he was larger than life. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like when you see, okay, so you think about Idris,
Mm-hmm.
and if you only hear him speak English, he bodies it so good. Like in I can't think of the Tyler Perry movie where he has the girls and he drives a
Daddy's little girl.
Cutlass. Yeah, he bodies that part so well. In fact, like I think that's when I was introduced to Idris,
Mm-hmm.
not personally, but to where when I saw that he was like British or something, I was like, what? Because he bodied that role so well. So I say that to say with Chadwick, and I don't feel right saying his name like that, so I'm gonna say Mr. Chadwick, just cause that's my Southern. He bodied Black Panther so well that I expected to see him in nothing but action movies where he has an accent. Like this was his real life person. Like with Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel bodies everything. But like
Mm-hmm.
if Denzel passed, I would be hurt
Mm-hmm.
because of what just like it's this feeling of like you can't do something this good if you're not a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to Wesley Snipes. I will watch, well, maybe not now, but I'm diehard Blade. I will watch Blade to this day.
Yeah.
Right? Because Blade is not expected to have any type of moral character on or off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. which is how I feel about Wesley Snipes. I don't recall any movie that he has played a good guy or like somebody with some sort of, real integrity and those things. So there's no way he could have done Black Panther with how it was done. And this is my opinion. He could do Blade because Blade cuss, cut, and kill. You can't go to cuss, cutting, and kill to being the king and wanting the best for the world and everything else. I mean, can you think of a Wesley Snipes movie where his character wasn't like kind of shady?
He's done a lot of them. Drop Zone, Passenger 57, Murder at 1500, Jungle Fever. Wesley is very versatile. Now,
Not that go ahead. Go ahead. Just no Wesley could never be Black Panther.
He could have been, but the thing now, we've had the benefit of seeing Chadwick Boseman in that role, so now he's going to be forever remembered as Black Panther, right? And so he's put a stamp on that character, much like what Denzel Washington did for Malcolm X, right? There's other actors that look more like Malcolm X than Denzel Washington. The actor Harry Lennox. He looks more like Malcolm X than Denzel does, but Denzel just embodied Malcolm and just looked like him. Now we can't even imagine anybody that looks more like Malcolm than Denzel playing that character. So my point being with that, had we had the benefit of seeing Wesley do the character before Chadwick, we could have seen it because that's very much Wesley's brand. He kind of encompasses everything that I look to be as an actor.
What?
Listen to me. Not on the personal tip because I don't know his life personally, but when I look at the work that he's done as an actor, he has that balance between being a leading man, being able to do comedy well and do action well, right? He's done comedy and drama, but what do we know him for? We know him for his action roles and what he's done, punching, kicking, and all this other kind of stuff. And he's doing it well at a high level, right? And so those are the things that we look at. So had he had the opportunity to do Black Panther at that time, we would have seen it, we would have accepted it. It wouldn't have looked like what we're accustomed to now. Well, we've seen Black Panther now. So yeah, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been what we've seen now because the technology there and everything would have been different. The story would have been different. The tone would have been different. But we can't judge now based off back then.
I'm not. I don't see it. That's like, okay, so like I understand what you're saying because it's already made, but I just that's like saying Will Smith could have been Black Panther or Denzel could have been Black Panther. Like
that's not their brand, but Wesley's brand is action. And we think about there's other actors out there that do action very well and better than Wesley, but we don't think of them as the same type of actor we think of Wesley. Wesley has a good balance of both. You see what I'm saying?
Picture my face since this is a conversation, but not we can't see each other. Just picture my face. Now the one guy the guy that played Spawn,
Michael Jai White.
Yeah. I think he could have, and I'm not talking about now, but I think that he could have been Black Panther. Not now, not 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago when he was, little, like I've seen him in recent stuff and I could, that age is setting in. Still looks good, but the age is setting in. But I think he could have been Black Panther had they did it 10 years ago.
Why Michael Jai White and not Wesley?
I don't like Wesley Snipes.
There we go. Why you ain't say that?
I thought I said that at the very beginning when you
No.
first said Wesley. I don't.
You
I
sidestepped the question. You never said what it was. You said we gonna get back to that, but you never said you ain't like Wesley.
I don't know. I never,
Okay.
like I said, I love Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, kind of like this character in New Jack City going back, but I don't know. And I could be wrong. He could be a super cool whatever dude, but Wesley Snipes his vibe off the screen don't reach me.
Okay, that's
Okay.
different.
But like the guy that played Spawn, like, and I've seen him in a couple of movies in which I can't think of off the top of my head besides Spawn, but like I like him. He seems like he has a good character. Like he seemed like the
Mm-hmm.
type of person you might go get coffee and he's sitting there chilling, getting coffee. Like he doesn't. You understand what I'm saying? How
Yeah.
somebody reaches through the screen and seem cool. Same with Idris.
Mm-hmm.
Same, and there's a few actors, actresses that they could reach off the screen and you like, okay, they cool. I'll watch them and stuff. But Denzel, I don't care what Denzel plays in. I'm gonna watch it
So okay.
all the way from Glory. Now I don't know if that was his first movie that he did, like that was like mainstream, so to speak. But that's how long I've been watching Denzel. Go ahead, Jay.
Mm-hmm. No,
Before
I'm
we
just
get
saying. No,
to the rest of this conversation.
that's that's fine. So that's different than the reasons that you provided. So if you
No,
don't like it, you don't
it's a
like it.
gumbo of reasons. It's a gumbo of reasons. The fact that I don't like him is just the
No, that's at the top of it, right?
eh,
So it doesn't matter what I say about it. We just have differences of opinions about how we view him, right? And
correct.
so because you don't like him, you're not gonna want to see him do a character that you find favorable because that's not
Correct.
gonna translate with you. And that's
Now,
fine. That's just the
he could have
difference.
played a bad guy. I see Wesley more as a bad guy than a good guy.
He could have been Killmonger.
Cor- correct. And it would have been very believable. That would not have kept me from watching the movie. I could see him playing a character more like that, just
Hmm.
personally. So the next step with Black Panther, because I know that's one of the questions a lot of people wondering, the studio's probably wondering, like, where do they go from here? Should they go, is there a part two? What are, your thoughts, what you can say as
I
far as,
can't I can't say much because I don't know much. I have access to the same information that everybody else has in
well,
terms
your personal opinion?
what what I was yeah, I mean I worked on the first one and for everybody that worked on the first one, we want to work on the second one. But it's up in the air now in terms of the direction that they go with it. I've heard rumblings that they're gonna go in the direction of making Shuri the next Black Panther for Black Panther 2.
The sister,
Yeah. And
did
so
you hear my voice?
I heard it. It went all the way up.
It went
You
about
went
3 octaves.
you went Fat Joe and Remy Ma.
I'm saying.
But I mean, there's a precedent for that because she in the comics, Shuri was Black Panther at one point. Because in the comic books, Black Panther had died or went away, and she took up the mantle till he came back. Because in comic books, nobody ever stayed dead for that long.
Hmm.
Comic books are like the soap operas. Somebody
Hmm.
somebody go missing out the boat, they be dead for 10 years, and they come back. Where were you? I was washed away on an island, and I constructed a raft, and I caught fish and ate until I got my strength up, and I sailed back because I love you, or whatever the case may be. And so there's precedent for that. So I've heard that, but again, I don't know what direction they go. It's up in the air because Chadwick Boseman, there was such an outpouring of love and support for him. He was so
Mm-hmm.
respected and loved. How do you follow that? Now, they've got precedent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for recasting characters. You think about the first movie, Iron Man. Terrence Howard played Rhodey, his best friend, the one in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came back and they recast him with Don Cheadle. Now, we didn't have a chance to get attached to Terrence Howard the
Right.
same way we got a chance to be attached to Chadwick Boseman. Your favorite character, mine too, the Incredible Hulk. Edward Norton killed that in the Incredible Hulk.
In the movie,
In the movie.
meh, I somewhat agree. He was the best one versus,
I
you
like
know.
I I liked his Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk. He brought
Yeah.
he was he was a blue collar kind of Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk, and they kind of went back to like the old Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk days for the youngsters. Check your history. You know, that you kind of separate themselves and this nomadic dude just trying to stay calm and stay off the radar because of this beast he had inside of him, and he brought that. And I like that kind of character with the Hulk, that kind of throwback to it. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for whatever reason, they didn't bring it back and for the movies, they decided to use Mark Ruffalo and his character for the Hulk. So it's not it stands to reason that they could do the same thing and recast the character altogether. But, you know, with social media now, a lot of people are able to put their 2 cents in and be heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's up in the air what they decide to do. Maybe they recast the character. Maybe they go with Shuri in a different direction. But the film is still slated to come out May 2022. So with that, when do they start filming? Is this going to hold up production? I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. I haven't heard.
I think and then I'm gonna say my thoughts on the direction. I personally think excuse me. Edward Norton as a actor, I like him. And if you saw Primal Fear,
Mm-hmm.
where he played you, I don't want to ruin that movie for anybody, but if you see it, it's like, yeah, this he could, or American History X. I think, but I
Okay.
never saw him play a happy-go-lucky character, and I think they probably wanted to go with a lighter Hulk versus Edward Norton, which I've seen him in heavy roles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could accept the current Hulk's humor coming from Edward Norton. You know
I
what I'm
agree with
saying?
you on that.
Because he is I'm
It's a
telling you.
more serious take on the Hulk. It wasn't as
Right,
humorous as they made the Hulk.
right. And I think if the Hulk was a little bit more of a serious character this go round, no, hands down. But I think because they, made the Hulk a lighter character, he couldn't have did it. But anything I've seen him in, like I love him. I
Mm-hmm.
really love his stuff. Would not want to run across him in a dark alley because he seemed like he might have a couple of personalities he done picked up along the way.
He
But
seemed like he got that life.
you know, because he does roles convincingly, especially if you've seen American History X. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to fight him, you know. But as far as with Suri, I could see them doing that if somebody else was playing her. But my personal opinion, her character looks fragile to me. So
Mm-hmm.
even like towards the end when she was, shooting with the little things and stuff like that, I'm like, why they got
Yeah.
these big things on this little child arms? Because she, and I know that's a grown woman and she's beautiful and everything else, but I can't see, like I couldn't see it. Not saying they couldn't do it. Now, if it was
Yeah.
what you call it, Dana, what's her
Guerrero.
name? Yeah.
Denai Guerrero.
Yeah. If they made her the like, if they decide to go a female direction, if they made her the
Yeah.
next Black Panther, I would have my ticket first. I would have it first. But even Lupita, I can't see it. But I think after seeing, now think about it. Think of the role she played in Black Panther, and even the role she played in Walking Dead. So her being the next quote unquote Black Panther, or the female Black Panther, that's like, it makes sense if you've seen her in stuff.
I get what you're saying.
So that's my 5 cents with that. Now, personally, because it's a discussion we've had about Killmonger,
Mm-hmm.
I personally think if they made a movie, because I don't think Killmonger was the quote unquote villain. I think he was entitled for how he felt.
Yeah.
I think that just like in soap operas or different things where they bring people back, I think they could either I think he should have his own movie that's maybe a little bit more truer to the comics, but tells his backstory, what happened before he, what all made him that angry. I think that, because from my understanding, people that I've talked to, with the exception of you, people that I have talked to don't necessarily look at him as the bad guy. Maybe because Michael B. Jordan played him, and it's hard to see him as a bad guy. For me, it wasn't that. But I think I understood how he felt. And I don't think anything was wrong with how he felt. And I don't think he should have died. Like, literally, I skip over that part when I watch Black Panther.
He threw
But
Black
I think
Panther
he could
over the
have his
mountain
own
anyway.
movie. I think if
Yeah.
he had his own movie, I would go see it. Personally.
I would too. But we're talking about Black Panther, not Killmonger. So that's that thing. And so you got to try to justify him coming back and wanting something different that's more in line with what Chadwick's character wanted versus what he wanted. And
Well,
I think a lot
go
of
ahead.
people.
I'm ready.
I
Oh, go
think a
ahead.
lot of people resonate with Michael B. Jordan's version of Killmonger, especially among Black people who doesn't understand wanting to be liberated, right? And
Yep.
having the resources to do that. And so a lot of people understood what he was fighting for. Now, to juxtapose that to, right, to create the conflict, he went against what Wakanda stood for because they were an insulated nation. They didn't let their technology out and be known to the rest of the world. It was like, we keep to ourselves. We do our thing. Y'all do y'all. We do us. That's it. We keep ourselves safe. And he was outside of that. And the fact that he was brutal in his response, even to, his people that he was in charge of now. And so that was a juxtaposition. But by and large, what he was fighting for, a lot of us understand. And especially now you think about 2020 and everything that's going on, his character has even more relevance.
And that's, if they did a movie, I'm telling you. And I personally don't think he was brutal. There's no way you cannot survive, period, by not, and people could take this the way they want to, but you can't come out from somebody's foot on your neck, and the only way to get their foot off your neck is to break their ankle, right? And you can't come out of that all peaches and cream and roses, so every time you're having to fight for whatever, you're gonna adopt some of that. Like, that's, I look at just kind of off topic, but I could relate to his character, that whole, fighting for this, fighting for that. He never had the chance to have that life that Black Panther had. So it's no way he could have been that person that we are Wakanda, then later we are the world,
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's what I didn't like about Black Panther, was that, okay, we're going to share our resources with the world. I was hollering no.
Yeah.
No, don't do it. So, and Killmonger wanted to liberate and save his people by any means necessary. I can't remember if I read this somewhere or heard somebody say it. It was almost like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But like versus not, you understand what I'm saying? I guess with the I can see how somebody could say that.
I can see that too, but here's the thing. We talk about Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X historically. People keep trying to make, through kind of revisionist history, make Malcolm X somebody that he wasn't, right? You look at Killmonger and you try to associate Killmonger with Malcolm X. They're two different people. And so Malcolm X advocated learning how to shoot, learning how to defend yourself, but he also advocated for following the law also. Don't do anything to put yourself in harm's way. Don't do anything that would cause you to be incarcerated. Don't break the law. Be a model citizen. Do everything you're supposed to. So if somebody comes up against you, puts their hands on you, you're well within your rights to defend yourself. He wasn't about turning the other cheek. You slap my cheek, I'm gonna slap yours back. But I'm first not gonna slap you. I'm gonna show you the same respect that you need to show me. Now you look at Killmonger, he was out there robbing museums, shooting at people, causing explosions, infiltrating Wakanda. He went about things a completely
What?
different way. But
Hold on,
hold on, wait a
I'm
minute,
not gonna let you handle him like
wait,
that.
wait a minute, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, but he was really getting it by any means, right? And so even if it came down to, fighting his own people, he gonna have his way, right? And so I understand why people would associate those two together. I get it, but they're different, right? And so the only reason I say that, I pointed out, right, because people tried to make Malcolm X this violent person that he wasn't, and that he
Right.
never showed himself to be. Highly disciplined, highly organized. When he was out speaking and preaching, name the times that he disrespected somebody. Name the times that he was out there cussing people out, fighting people. Name the times he shot somebody and did all these things. Name the times that he was just outright violent, right?
It's not if anybody do their study and they know what you say to be true about Malcolm X.
Yes.
So I'm not saying it from.
What's
Go ahead,
second
baby.
though? But so anybody that does this study will know these things, but most people don't study. They'll take what I'm saying, what somebody else says, or anybody says to be truth, or to look at a video or something. That'll be the extent of their research on the person, right? And so
Right.
what we know, rhetoric exists out there, and people spit rhetoric all the time, right? And the thing about a lie versus the truth, you can say a lie enough times, people will believe it, even though it's a lie, right? And you say the truth a few times, it's not going to stand up against the lie that people have been indoctrinated with and hearing said over and over again. They tend to believe it, because why would somebody just keep saying the lie over and over again? Because it's like a telephone. I pass it to this person passes it to somebody else, and so on and so forth, until this lie persists and drowns out the truth, whatever it may be.
Okay. That's a
And so,
discussion we're gonna have another day, because I want to bring it back to our Black Panther discussion.
so I don't, so I just want to say this, and we can move on.
Okay.
Because when you think about people that are extremists and whatnot, people want to make Malcolm X and the Muslims this extremist group. And They weren't. They want to put them in the same vein as the KKK, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, hate groups, right? And that's not what they advocated for, and that's not what they did. That's not what they've shown. Where are the white people that they lynch? Where are the crosses in white people's yards that they burn, right? And so I just say that so people don't get the misconception that Malcolm X was some violent, rhetoric touting
Right,
extremist in line with the KKK, and that just
right.
wasn't the case.
And that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why people need to read, research, and everything else. It was his presence, his discipline, the way that he held himself. He
Mhm.
had a strong, like just seeing him. Let's say you never listened to none of his speeches, right? And you just saw. So some strength is loud without saying a word. So that's how I look at Killmonger, honestly.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So, but we're gonna touch back on that another day, because that's definitely a discussion to be had, and people do need to do their research, and somebody willing to stand up for their self don't make them an extremist. It just means that they tired of taking whatever. And I speak about that from a personal experience. I'm not an
Mhm.
extremist. I'm not violent.
Yeah.
However,
You're not violent.
I'm no, to me it's not violent if I'm defending myself. My mama raised me. Somebody hit you, you hit them back, and you bet not run. You better keep getting up and fight till you win. That's me. I ain't gonna start a fight,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna finish it. And I do believe in returning equal plus force. So, with that being said, I got it. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Spider-Man, right?
Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Venom,
Spider-Man.
Venom, Venom. Venom has his own movie. And if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, they're working on part 2. So,
Yeah.
that look, I had to write that down. That by itself proves how they could go.
Mm,
I'm listening.
I see what you're saying. I mean, we talking about Black Panther.
Mhm,
That's taken in a completely different direction. Like, if you want, I'm not against doing the Killmonger movie. I watch it.
mhm.
But we're talking about where they go in the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman, God rest him.
Right.
That where do we go with Black Panther 2 now? Because now it's wide open because now we don't have Black Panther anymore, right?
Mm.
And so now you're talking about something completely different, not a sequel to Black Panther.
Well, I think they're going to have to like meditate and think about that for a couple of more years before they come out with a Black Panther 2, honestly.
They, they
I don't think it's something that could be done within the next couple of years without the sting still like being a sting.
yeah,
But doing a Killmonger movie, even though it's not Black Panther, it will help keep it fresh. So enough time, I guess, maybe has passed to where they could come back at it. You know what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying. It's just they've already got their plans in the direction that they're headed with. This movie's already slated to come out, and it's one of the few movies that's still on schedule to be released when it's supposed to be released. Now, with the pandemic and everything, they had some other movies that were supposed to come out this year that weren't able to be released, like the Black Widow movie. The Black Widow movie is supposed to come out. They pushed that
Yeah,
back till next year. What
they could push
else?
that back 3 years. Go ahead. Not in. She don't need a standalone movie, and I'm not interested. Doctor Strange, I'm interested in
They're working on that
another.
now. There was another.
Yeah,
Well, oh, also the other movie. It's not Marvel, but Wonder Woman 1984. That got pushed
Black.
back because of the pandemic.
They honestly, they probably pushed him back because I mean, where was the real interest? Who saw other Wonder Woman?
What? Wonder Woman was good.
Mm-mm.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, bits and pieces that was able to hold my. I'm not impressed.
Mm, mm,
Aquaman.
mm.
I I think they should do it. And I know we're talking what DC. That's
Yeah,
DC.
it's DC.
Okay.
Oh, you
Yeah.
like Aquaman, huh?
Yeah. I mean I liked.
You like them running around with his shirt off? Okay.
No, I just I like Aquaman. Personally, I
Oh,
don't think
okay.
what I can't think of his name, but personally I don't think he could act. Anything I've seen
Jason
him in,
Momoa.
I was not impressed. Yeah. But I like where they were going and what they were trying to do. And I liked, I really liked it. I think they could have kept some parts out and did better on other parts. But overall, if they came out with a Aquaman part 2, I would see it. Never
Mm,
saw did any of the new Supermans. Just
mm,
Batman, since they changed Batman to Ben Affleck. Nope. I was done.
mm,
You know, um,
mm,
Spider Man. When besides seeing the new guy in Avengers, I stopped watching Spider Man when it was no longer what you call it, Tobey Maguire. Is that his name?
Well, you went way back.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm classic with mine. I'm so, but I think as far as Black Panther 2, I do think um I think that they should make a part 2. I don't know the if, ands, and buts how they're going to do it, whether recasting or do a prequel, which is what I said. I think they should either do a prequel. That way, him not being somebody different, it would fit without being another way.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to me, honestly, I think if they did a prequel, so to speak, um, or what else I think, because being that his dad was Black Panther before he was, they could
Mm-hmm.
take it from that way, show Black Panther like his dad being, in his prime being Black Panther. They could
Yeah,
easily have a different actor play him then.
yeah. And just go back in time through the different Black Panthers.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I can see that.
I would go see that. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know his dad was, I'm 99.9% sure of that, right? His dad was Black Panther. Wasn't his dad
Who?
Black Panther?
Who's that?
Um, Black Panther. Like before he was Black Panther, his dad was Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to. I hadn't watched the movie in a hot minute,
We got
so
to
I
go back
think
and watch it.
if they did it that way,
Mm-hmm.
I could see it. I could go see it
Yeah.
personally. That's my final thought on it. Killmonger movie, which I say either way, they should still do a Killmonger movie. Especially, y'all do your research, see how he was in the comics. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think a Killmonger movie, a Black Panther 2, the prequel, I could definitely support that. For them to go forward with Black Panther as is, like in time, they're gonna have to come out with a hell of an actor to play him. And as an actor, I wouldn't want to do it because you would have such a high standard to live up to. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna, so that hence why I say a prequel. You ain't got to worry about that.
Well,
That's my final thought.
you just can't keep going back. You got to push forward at some point. So you just got to make a decision and live with it. And so I would like to see some movies about the Black Panthers that came before. I think that'd be
Yeah.
cool. But eventually, you got to push the story forward. Like you got to figure out a way to respectfully mourn and
Hmm.
pass the torch to whoever the next Black Panther is going to be. But you got to go. You got to move forward. We just can't stay stuck here with what the character is and what he represents. Now, it's going to be hard because he's put a stamp on that character, but you could go
Hmm.
any number of directions, right? Because you can get a name actor to play Black Panther. And so you can either, you know, lay to rest T'Challa as Black Panther, or you can recast him. Either way, you got to make a decision because there's other stories to be told with the
Yeah.
character of Black Panther. Because in the comic books, there's a whole romance between Black Panther and Storm where they get married, and that's
Yeah,
something
no,
that
I ain't
we're
trying
looking.
to see that.
Well, that's why not?
Because I never
'Cause
liked Storm in movies.
I want to marry Black Panther. Bump Storm. I'll fight her.
No, I never liked Storm character at all. I've never, not movie wise.
Not movie. Well, I'm not talking about movie wise with the character.
I'd have to see how she's represented in the comics because in movie wise, Storm played by Halle Berry is weak.
No, she was miscast, right? Because Storm is an African. She's African. Who would have been perfect to play Storm back then? Well, she had probably aged out at that point, but I think she could have did it. Was either well, no, Beverly Johnson would have been a perfect Storm, and Naomi Campbell would have killed Storm.
Uh-uh. Models. That's what we doing now.
Naomi
Mo-
Campbell is what is she? I think she's straight up African. And
okay, but she's a model.
but these are more African black women than Halle Berry is mixed, right? And so she's a little
Right.
bit lighter than what we expect somebody from Africa. And I think she was a
I,
miscast. Even now, I think they kind of miscast Storm for the new telling of the character. And so you got to go back and look at Storm in the comic books, and you see what I'm saying.
I'm gonna have to see,
You're
but I
gonna have
disagree
to.
with the two
No, you
people that you.
disagree because you got to look at the character in the comic books. You basing off of Halle Berry. Don't base it off of that.
No, I'm basing it off of looking at these two women trying to place a black woman superhero.
That's from Africa.
Okay, but
Look at the character.
okay, we're gonna pick this up at a later date with
No,
that.
because you still got Halle Berry in your mind. Look at Storm and
N-
Beverly Johnson. Naomi Campbell look more like Storm than Halle Berry did.
Take the looks out the equation.
What else are we going
Take
off of?
acting ability, the ability to have superpowers.
That's all computer generated.
I Dana, how you pronounce her last name?
Guerreri.
Okay.
She can't be Storm now because she a Koye.
I know.
She would have been
She
a
could
good
get her
Storm.
own.
Yeah.
I'll support it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
we gonna
you need to go
what you
back and check because Beverly Johnson, yeah, they would have been perfect Storms to
mm,
do
mm,
like a hurricane.
mm, 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 mm. That's all I could say. Um if they recast Black Panther some kind of way, whatever you want to call it, I'll support Idris.
He's already somebody in the movies. He's Hemdale in the Thor movies.
But he died. Why he can't come back as they could make it happen.
Really? So
If they could make Bucky come back,
but
sure.
not in somebody else. So
They've done that. I can't think of
okay. So if we make a movie, right? In the
mhm,
first movie, you you're my sister, right? And then you
yeah.
die, and then we make the sequel, and then you come back as my best friend. Wait a minute, we ain't forgot she was just his sister in the first movie. Now they gonna
No,
act
it's
like we don't know who she is. We recognize you. You see what I'm saying?
Jay, they've done that. I'm telling you, they have
Whoa. Not in
some
the
kind of
not in the same universe, right? We just seen Thor and all them fighting and battling for Avengers Infinity War, right? So we
mhm,
seen Thor getting trashed by Thanos and Heimdall dying on that spaceship, and then Avengers Infinity War, and then you got Endgame, but now he come back as the Black Panther now. Like, bruh, you was just Heimdall. We ain't forgot.
Okay, but they could make the characters relate. They could do it. Like in this life, he was Heimdall. Next, no, I could buy it. Written right, it could happen. Because he should have had a bigger part anyway.
There's not enough writing that you can do to fix that.
I'm telling you, watch me write it. How much they pay for scripts? Watch me write it.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying. That's my
I'm not down your skills as a writer. I'm just saying that ain't gonna make no sense.
I know. I'd have to do it under a pen name. Don't be surprised if you see that come out however many years. Y'all just know y'all heard it here first and I wrote it.
Heimdall Panther?
I don't know. Evil twin, a good twin. You could make twins, babies.
Okay. Oh, we're gonna go the soap opera route. Okay.
Yep. All day. That's all I gotta say. Jay, it has been interesting.
We leaving now?
Yes, sir. We're gonna have other discussions on other days. That's for sure. I just wanted. This is a discussion that had to happen. It's gonna be interesting to see who's right in this. You know, that's why I like having it. Huh?
I just started to warm up. We could talk for another hour.
Oh my goodness, that'll have to be a whole part 2 or 3 show.
You can write it. And I'll come back. I won't come back as J. I'll come back as G.
You know what?
I won't be J. I'll be G. Wasn't he J? No, I'm G.
G, can you tell the audience how they could connect with you? How they could connect with you, find you, see what you up to, see some of your movies, like the one I covered the red carpet for, When a Woman Loves a Man. Yeah, go ahead and lay it out so people could see you in action.
So I've got a movie on Amazon Prime called When a Woman Loves a Man. When a Woman Loves a Man, which I star in. Yay. Go check it out. It's on Tubi as well, so you can find it on those streaming platforms. You can find me on social media. I got a website, www.jwellsjr.com. Instagram, there goes Jay. Twitter, there goes J1. There's somebody else that stole my name, those scoundrels. I had to add the one. But you can find me there. You can reach out, connect to me, follow me, like all my pictures. I need the engagement. I need to get my numbers up. So y'all follow, like, share, comment. And yeah, do it that way. And so check out my movie. And can I tell them what I got coming up?
Yeah.
And so I got some other stuff I'm working on also. I've been working more in the stunt lane. And so I'm working on a project right now called Super Turn. So I'm the stunt coordinator for it. And it is you can see the first one. It's on Amazon Prime. I believe it's on Tubi as well. It's on those streaming platforms. You can see the first one. It stars Man Robinson, Jamal Woolard, who played Biggie in Notorious, Tori Hart. She's an entertainer on right. She's, most people know her for being Kevin Hart's ex-wife. She's doing her thing now. There's a few other prominent people in the movie. That's the first one turned. So now we're shooting the sequel, finishing that one up. And I got called in to do what I do with fight choreography and being the stunt coordinator, make sure everybody's safe and come up with some dope fight scenes.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka laka boom. Chief Rocker, the boom chief.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, thank you so much for listening. If you want to add your 2 cents about where you think they should go with Black Panther, you could do so on social media, the Define You, or go to the website, DefineURadio.com. Until next time, yeah, remember to have conversations that make you think, feel, and do something that makes a difference, or at least that's interesting. Peace.
You have been listening to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations. If you learned something, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, and foes. Make sure you go over to DefineURadio.com and subscribe for our monthly giveaways and more.